going to take the North and never give it back.
What's up, guys? Swifty here, covering everything Chicago Bears. Since Ryan Poles hasn't made any moves in the last 24 hours, it gave me a chance to update our depth chart and check in on our biggest needs after the first week of free agency. Let's get right into it. First off, let's take a look at the offense, where the biggest addition was DJ Moore. Other additions include guard Nate Davis, running backs D'Onta Foreman and Travis Homer, tight end Robert Tonyan, and backup QB PJ Walker. Also, with the addition of Nate Davis, Ryan Poles has mentioned that Cody Whitehair will get a chance to work at center, where he went to the Pro Bowl back in 2018. It at least gives us a couple of options at center and allows Poles to add a center in the draft. Our offense is shaping out quite nice, with one major hole at right tackle currently. A third tight end could be added, as well as another receiver or a center, but overall there's only one major hole on offense with 5 weeks left until the draft. That is the right tackle spot. Larry Borom and Alex Leatherwood both played the position at times last year. Meanwhile, Riley Reiff has moved on. It's possible that Poles is higher on Leatherwood than many of us think, but in my opinion, we still need a right tackle added to the roster sooner rather than later. After PJ Walker was signed, Trevor Siemian has been released, so PJ Walker's promoted to the backup QB spot. Meanwhile, D'Onta Foreman said he came in to be the starter. I currently have him listed in the first spot, but I expect a 1-2 punch with him and Khalil Herbert. The offense is coming together, though. The wide receiver room is already dangerous with DJ Moore, Claypool, Mooney, Velus, and ESB. We have two very solid tight end options now with Kmet and Tonyan, 3 capable running backs, and a backup QB that has a similar skill set to our starter. What about the offensive line, though? 4 out of the 5 spots seem set heading into the draft. Left tackle is Braxton Jones. Left guard is Nate Davis. Center is Cody Whitehair. Right guard is Tevin Jenkins. And the right tackle is wide open with Leatherwood and Borom being in the lead if the season started today. Also, they could swap Tevin Jenkins to left guard and keep Nate Davis on the right side, but I expect Davis to go back to left guard where he played in college. He said he's comfortable on either side of the line. Honestly, Ryan Poles has done a great job on the offense and has given himself a chance to draft the best player available. He does need to add a right tackle still, but remember Riley Reiff was added in August last year, and there are plenty of veteran tackles who could come in on a 1-year deal, like George Fant. No reason to panic yet. It's still very early, but a right tackle will be added at some point in my opinion. Now let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Our defense is coming together as well. The back 7 is pretty set, and it's so dynamic with a ton of potential. Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker are set in as the starting safeties. Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon will be 2 out of our 3 corners, with Gordon probably playing the nickel. The one spot that is up for grabs is the CB2 spot, with Kendall Vildor currently being the guy entrenched. He had an up and down season, and Poles could look to upgrade here, but there are 3 other youngsters with potential in Jalen Jones, Josh Blackwell, and Michael Ojemudia on the roster as well. The linebackers also seem to be pretty set in stone. Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards are your starters at the Mike and Will. Who starts where is anyone's guess at this point. I think Edmonds is going to be the Will, but his coverage skills are perfect for the Mike as well. Either way, they will be our top 2 linebackers. Flus likes them to be interchangeable, and then Jack Sanborn will play the Sam and be the backup to both guys. Our linebacker core went from a big weakness to a team strength overnight. The back 7 of our defense could see a corner added, but the defensive line is where the most work needs to be done. At defensive end, we have DeMarcus Walker, Dominique Robinson, and Trevis Gibson. At defensive tackle, we have Andrew Billings, who should be the starting nose, and Justin Jones could start at 3-tech, but I see him as a backup. This defensive line needs an infusion of talent, and I expect Ryan Poles to take advantage of the special talent at D-line in this year's draft class. It's actually brilliant in my opinion. He needed to bring in a couple of pieces in free agency, but he attacked other positions, allowing himself to take the best player available, which will be loaded with talent at our 4 or 5 biggest needs. Walker could also play some 3-tech, but I expect Ryan Poles to address defensive end and 3-tech very early in the draft. Who ends up starting on the defensive line is anyone's guess at this point, but I think 2 starting caliber players must be added during the draft or the rest of free agency. Ryan Poles has plenty of ways to get this done, but after the first week of free agency, our 3 biggest needs remain what they were before free agency: right tackle, 3-tech, and defensive end. Poles shored up receiver, running back, quarterback, guard, and linebacker positions already and brought in some talent on both lines. Our top 5 needs as of today are right tackle number 1, defensive tackle, the 3-tech position at number 2. Either of those positions could be number 1. I just gave right tackle the number 1 because we have to protect Justin Fields this year, and it's the only hole on our offense. And then number 3, I have defensive end. Cornerback has risen to our number 4 highest need, and at number 5, I have the center position. Poles set this up beautifully. Right tackle has a lot of good options in this draft. The defensive line is loaded, and it's a really great draft class for corners and centers as well. Every one of our top 5 needs now is full of talent in this year's draft, and we have 10 picks. I don't believe this was an accident or a coincidence. I believe Ryan Poles has done this intentionally. He wants to build through the draft. He's said it all along. So it makes sense to want to use his premium draft picks in the trenches where this team needs the most help. Also at the center position, I still think Ryan Poles drafts someone, but if Whitehair transitions to center smoothly, he covers that position as well. Whitehair is a big upgrade over Musty. We also have Lucas Patrick, Dieter Iceland, and Doug Kramer on the roster, so there are actually 4 guys who could be in the mix at the center spot, which is why I've moved it down our list of needs. I think Poles is most likely planning to draft a center though, and Cody Whitehair can be released at any point and save the team $10 million in cap space. Poles has a ton of flexibility, and he's killing this offseason so far. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with our biggest needs? I think wide receiver would be 6th on the list. It's not a big need to me with 5 receivers on the roster now and a true number 1. I still think Poles will draft a receiver at some point, but not in the first 2 rounds. But let me know your thoughts. I'm curious how everyone else views our roster now after 1 week of free agency. I think it's improved drastically. Poles has added roughly 7 starters in a week. The overall talent on this team has definitely improved. We also have more draft picks than we had a week ago. Things are looking up in Chicago. Stay tuned. I'm working on some all 22s. They take a lot of time. Please remember to hit that like button for me. And until next time, bear down.